Hello everyone, LucaYasha, and welcome to our next episode in the Top 5 series. Now, it has been a while. I'm going to get this out the way with. It's been a while, but life, of course, gives you so many things you have to do, and sometimes you have to put things to the side. But keep in mind, the channel is not dead. And speaking of the dead, this fits right into my Halloween special of the top 10 Ghost-type Pokémon. Now, this was probably the hardest list for me to make, and I'm going to say it for the rest of the series. I've said it before with other series, but this is going to be the benchmark of difficulty. Why? Because I love every single ghost type. No joke, it's literally the only type in the game where I can say that I love all of them. And even though Dragon is my favourite typing, Ice being second, Ghost is definitely third, and the main reason why is just because, well, Dragon sounds awesome and I've already had an infatuation for the Ice Pokemon. But still, when it comes to ghost types, they're amazing. Really, just the fact of how unique they are, and that's the main thing I really like about them, is their uniqueness. For one, in terms of battle, they are immune to two types, fighting and normal, and of course they're only weak to dark types as well as other ghost types. Now, originally in Gen 1, there was only 3 ghost type Pokemon, and that was the same Pokemon, Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, the same evolution line. How did they improve this in Generation 2? They added 1! Mischievous, and then after that it went to Generation 3 where a few more ghost types are added, Gen 4 added a few more, so I don't really know if it's the least amount of Pokemon in it, but still, it just shows how unique they are, how rare, and it's just, they're so cool. I love the designs behind them, and this is probably going to be the only list where I go deep into Pokédex entries, because the ghost type Dex entries are just insanely creepy, and it's just that factor. And to be honest, I didn't even intend for this video to be Halloweeny. I just thought I was going to do the top 5 ghost types and move on. But as the month came closer, I figured, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to make this a Halloween special of a top 10 ghost type Pokemon. Now, I know it's past Halloween, but this is as close as I can get it for date-wise. So, without further ado, I hope you all enjoy my Halloween Spooktacular with the top 10 ghost type Pokemon. Number 10. Taking number 10 this week, we have Sullinger. Now, Sullinger is probably not the most battle-ready Pokemon. Hell, it's only got 1 HP. But, oh my god, I just love this thing. In terms of all the Ghost-type Pokemon, this thing is probably just the creepiest of them all. I mean, for one, list of the Dex entries for you. Sullinger's hard body doesn't move, not even a twitch. In fact, its body appears to be merely a hollow shell. It is believed that this Pokemon will steal the spirit of anyone peering into its hollow body from its back. Oh my goodness, this thing is a soul vacuum. As well as that, the way you got this thing took me as a surprise when I first played. I heard rumours from my friends saying you could get this rare Pokemon by evolving Nincada and leaving a space in the team. I did that, but nothing happened. They had to tell me that you needed a Pokeball to do it. So when you evolve Nincada into Ninjask and have a space empty with a Pokeball extra, you get Sullinger. Now, Sullinger is one of those weird mons. Of course, you can see 1 HP. What on earth is this thing going to do? 1 HP? What can you do? Well, it's got a unique ability, Wonder Guard. I believe that's the correct name of it. If it's wrong, I'll put a little annotation. But essentially that means it can only be hit by super effective moves. So flying, fire, rock. I'm not sure if ghost types work, or the dark types because he's got that bug typing as well. But still, Sullinger is just awesome. And of course, the problem is Stealth Rocks do kill Sullinger, even with Focus Sash, so make sure you send this guy in the right time. Like I said, Sullinger is just really creepy. And that's the main factor I have with this thing. I mean, look at this little halo. It is literally a carcass. This thing is a corpse. Did you ever think of that? This is probably the only Pokemon that is a corpse. You're playing, this thing is just awesome. Now, some people, I mean, look at the wings. Even though they're supposed to be wings, doesn't it kind of look like something exploded at the back of its body? Well, technically something did. This thing used to be an Nincada. It's all like that. It's the carcass, or the shell of the Nincada evolving into Ninjask. And the thing is, when looking at other things Pokemon's dexes, oftentimes they do say the things about looking into its back, it steals your souls, but then in other games it actually tells you the actual fact of how it turned into this. So, here's Sapphire's. Sullinger is a peculiar Pokemon. It seems to appear unsought in a Pokeball after an Nincada evolves. This bizarre Pokemon is entirely mobile, it doesn't even breathe. Yeah, I really didn't think that I'd feel any more uncomfortable playing with a Pokemon, but this thing is just awesome. Like I said, I just love the design of it, it's really clever, I feel. Now, in terms of battle capabilities, there isn't really much you can do with Shedinja because, well, you've got to plan this thing. If you're going to use this thing, use it as an offense or a Will-O-Wisp, because that's what most ghost types are used for, Confusion and Will-O-Wisp, because Will-O-Wisp is one of my favourite moves of all time. As well as that, it's also got one of my other favourite moves of all time, Phantom Force, which is essentially a nerfed down Shadow Force, but it's still pretty damn awesome. Now, I love the design of it. The halo, I mean, look at this thing just wobble about, and there's no emotion to it, but it's just so cool. I don't know why I really like this thing, but it's just one of those mons which I just really, really love. Now, like I said, the halo is kind of looking like sort of like angelic, and this sort of like little halo it's got there. And like I said, in terms of offense, it really won't do much if you're not careful with it. But of course, run Focus Sash on it, and it always lives on one hit, which of course is a very, very good thing that happens. So yeah, even though, well, not very competitive compared to the other mons on this list, it's just so much fun to use. So claiming the number 10 spot this week, we have Shedinja. Number 9. In number 9 this week, we have Jellison. Now, Jellison is probably one of the cuter ghost types out there. I mean, look at that design. It isn't really an intimidating ghost type. You wouldn't think much of this big blob of jelly, would you? Well, let's have a look at a Pokédex entry, shall we? The fate of the ships and crew that wander into Jellison's habitat, all sunken, all lost, all vanished. This thing is essentially the Kraken of the sea. It drags down people with it, and oh my god, this thing is just... If I had to be if I saw a jellyfish in real life, I'd probably be a bit freaked out because, oh god, that thing's creepy, it's going to sting me. But if I saw a Jellison, I'd probably run the other way. Although I'm kind of tempted to hug it because it just looks like one of those things you just want to hug. So he's probably one of the cuter ghost types out there, but in terms of his overall abilities and stats and all that sort of thing, he's a really special defensive monster. He's a really good sponge, which kind of fits his theme of being a blob of jelly. And of course, being the water type, he does have access to a few powerful moves. You can run Will-O-Wisp, I do think that, I'm not sure about that actually, but he does get Scald, so you can still inflict your burns. I mean, I prefer to run full invested special defense and have acid armor, because acid armor is just awesome on this thing. I once swept an entire team on Showdown with Jellison and acid armor, because they literally couldn't kill me quick enough. I set up so many acid armors, took all the physical hits and all the special hits, that eventually I just overpowered the team with all my Scalds. Now, when it comes to Jellison in terms of design, like I said, it's not really an intimidating ghost type. It does have two forms, though. You have the pink female version and the blue male version. I prefer the blue one just because I like the colour blue than the more colour pink. I mean, look at that little crown. It's just sort of, I don't know, it's just cute. And there's probably, the next one's going to be a cute ghost type as well. And the rest of them are going to be a lot more creepier, trust me. We had Shedinja on the list before this guy, but the main reason Shedinja was as low as he was just because in battle capability isn't really much use. The rest of these Pokemon do have a bit more battle usage to them. Now, of course, Jellison does get the ability Water Absorb, so you can heal off water type moves, which is very useful. It also gets Curse Body, so if someone attacks you with a physical move, you can actually have a chance to disable that move. Now, usually Jellison is used to tank special hits because of that in-hand very high special defense. Of course, it's very slow. You're not going to be outspeeding with this thing unless it's just like so many curses. But still, it's just a really, really fun one to use. I mean, I bred this thing just because I figured, well, I need a mon on my team, and I thought, Jellison Frillish looks alright, and Jellison looks kind of silly, but I get used to it, and I just fell in love with it. I really don't know. I think it was just the fact of the timing and when it came introduced to me. Because in X and Y, that was when I got into competitive battling, and I was thinking, right, I've got to sort out these teams. Is there really a good water type I can use that can take special hits? There are plenty of water types that can do that. What about ghost types? A ghost water type that's quite bulky? I can take that, I can work with that. I just fell in love with it. I said, well, it may not be fast, it has a bucket load of HP and a bucket load of special defense. Special attack's pretty decent. Of course, acid armor, we have access to recover as well. This thing is just so silly. And that's the main reason it's here. Because as much as good as it is, it's also just ridiculous. I mean, when you think of a jellyfish Pokemon, I think this is just kind of what the best they could do with it. I mean, obviously there's a popular Pringles joke, but still, I just love Jellison, and he is at number 9 on this list, so we've got another 8 to go. But claiming the number 9 spot this week, we have Jellison. Number 8. Claiming the number 8 spot this week, we have drifblim. Now, when Generation 4 came out, there were quite a few nice ghost types introduced, but drifblim really surprised me, mainly just because of how you encountered it. You can only encounter it on a certain day in front of the windmill place, can't remember the name of it. But then, obviously, you had the gym leader who had a drifblim as well, and drifblim was quite a surprise to me. At first I thought it just looked a bit silly, but when I got to use one later on in Diamond and Pearl, I sort of just fell in love again. And then of course when X and Y came out, Omega Ruby, I knew that I had to get this thing bred and ready because drifblim is really cool to use. For one, it has access to the ability Unburdened, which if you don't know means that when your held item is used, your speed is doubled. This thing can potentially outspeed some of the fastest Pokemon in the game with that. And of course it is quite versatile in the moves it can use. You can run physical, which is more recommended, but of course you can run special drifblim, which is just as effective. I mean, I have an Ominous Wind drifblim. You won't believe how many times I've got Ominous Wind to work and get this thing busted up. It's just so much fun. And once again, it's probably the cutest ghost type in my opinion. Because in terms of the list we have on the other Mon we have on this list, I think this is where the cute factor ends. Maybe it's because drifblim doesn't look like a proper ghost type, does it? I mean, it is a flying type. And despite all the HP it hasn't really got any outstanding defense. And that does sort of confuse me. It's sort of like the Emboar thing again. Lots of HP, but very poor defense. What's the point in having all that HP? Well, still, drifblim is just really cool and fun to use, like I said. I mean, obviously the design, I like what they did here. And even though I think that Drifloon's Pokedex entry is a bit creepier, the fact how it steals kids away and drifts off with them, I mean, Drifblim's Pokedex is essentially the same thing, but it doesn't really say anything else about that. In fact, I forgot to get that up, so I'll quickly load it up now. How professional, Luke? How gosh darn professional are you? Not very, it seems. Now, I will just say that when it comes to the ghost types, I love all of them. I mean, I did want to put so many more on this list. I was very tempted to do a top 15, but due to my time constraints, I really felt that I wasn't going to be able to get it done in time. And hell, I barely got this one done in time. So, like I said, drifblim is just one of those interesting ghost types to me. It doesn't look all that intimidating, but still, it's just one of those mons which, I really like. It's one of those things that I just sort of clicks with you. It synchronizes, for lack of a better word. Okay then, so here we go with some Pokedex entries now. It carries people and Pokemon when it flies, but since it only drifts, it can end up anywhere. Yeah, so it's not really a creepy Pokedex entry. More of a worrying one, so if this thing grabs you, you're going with it, whether you like it or not. And so, it's not a creepy ghost type, but it is one of those more lovable ones, I think. Sort of like the whole Jellison thing, give it a hug, but obviously give it a hug and it's going to take you away to places far and wide, and sometimes you'll never come back. So, claiming the number 8 spot this week, we have drifblim. Number 7. Claiming the number 7 spot this week, we have dustnoir. Now, when it comes to Generation 3, most people know that it's my favourite generation of Pokemon. And when I do see my Gen 3 Mons get evolutions, it just tickles my heart. Now, dustnoir is a very interesting mon to me, because while I absolutely love Duskull's design, Dusclops was a bit confusing to me. Mainly because I did not understand what was going on with it. But then they improved it so much by giving dustnoir to us. Dustnoir has the bulk of Dustnoir, or Dusclops even, I said Dustnoir, but it has amazing bulk and its attack is also incredible. Of course, low speed, low HP is a bit of a cost, but still, Dustnoir is just so cool. As well as that, it's sort of referred to the Grim Reaper of Pokemon, and that in itself is just insanely creepy. I mean, we've had Pokemon which reincarnate themselves after a Pokemon's alive, it's a living corpse. Then you have Pokemon which steal people and then drag people under, but this thing is literally supposed to be the Grim Reaper. And I don't really think that there's any way to top that than me. Hell, just give this thing a scythe when it Mega Evolves and that will be amazing. And even then, Dusclops evolves into this thing by holding a Reaper Cloth. The Cloth of the Grim Reaper. That is definitely scary to think about. I mean, here we go, we got some dex entries here. The antenna on its head captures radio waves from the world of spirits that command it to take people there. So it takes people to the spirit world. Not only that, where was that one about its chest? And there's something about it takes people into its chest or something like that. I can't find it here. But basically, this thing just sort of takes you to the spirit world. It guides you there. Yeah, here we go. It is said to take lost spirits into the playat's body and guide into its playat's body and guide it home. That's a very weird word. But assume that obviously that mouth on its chest, it will just eat you up and drag you to the underworld. And I said, well, I was a bit skeptical of the design first, mainly because Duskull is one of my favourite ghost-type designs, and then Dusclops is probably one of my least favourite. I mean, Dusclops is probably my least favourite ghost-type, even though I still love it. And then Dustnoir just sort of rekindled it for me. I love how much bulk this thing has as well. While the HP is low, it's got so much good bulk. I mean, hell, if I've got a battle which I'm going to post up, a recorded battle, of this thing taking a Draco Meteor from a Latias and living to tell the tale. Yeah, that's just so cool. I absolutely just love this thing. Again, it's another ghost type I love, and that's going to be a common phrase you'll hear from me. I love these ghost types. And I said, well, ice types, I do prefer ice types over ghost types. It's more the fact that every ghost type is just special to me, while every ice type is cool to me. There is a limit to which ones I really like. So who knows, maybe in a couple years time or a couple months time, who knows, I'll say ghost type is my favourite type, but it's always those top 3 that I always mention to. Now of course with its whopping attack power, which I was really surprised about, this thing is just really strong. And while its special attack is something which, well, I mean, if you want to run a special dustnoir, be my guest, but I prefer to use those fists, because obviously it gets access to all the punches, and even if you are out slower than stuff, you have Shadow Sneak at your disposal. So, while it is one of those mons which I really think deserves a bit more shining to it, I mean, it's in the lowest tier NU, and I can agree that the reason why is because its speed is probably what holds it back. But I said you have Shadow Sneak, so what's the worry with that? So, claiming the number 7 spot this week, we have Dustnoir. Number 6. Claiming the number 6 spot this week, we have Sableye. Yet again, another ghost type from Generation 3. And there will be more to come, if you haven't already guessed. Now, Sableye is one of those interesting ones. I played Ruby first, so I never had my hands on a Sableye during the original games. When X and Y came out, I figured, you know what, I'll have a look into Sableye. I mean, I never thought much of it because back then, when I was younger, I used to think Pokemon that didn't evolve were weaker. Because that was sort of how you were trained, the fact that Pokemon evolved to get stronger if they didn't evolve. I was a bit confused. But Sableye was one of those mons that took me by surprise about how good it is. I mean, obviously you can get the Prankster Sableye, which Sableye Prankster is just annoying. I'm going to put that out there. It's one of the most annoying things in this game, but it's so fun to use. Sableye is just that mon which, it's a guilty pleasure. It's like, you know this thing is bad, but oh my god, is it so good to be bad. Now, Sableye's design interests me because once again, it's not one of those ghost types that actually sounds intimidating. It always says in its Pokédex entries of the fact that Sableye lead quiet lives inside caverns. They are feared, however, because these Pokemon are thought to steal the spirits of people when their eyes burn with sinister glow in the darkness. Okay, so no mind what I said. They'll see this just rumours though. That doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. No documentation of it. Obviously, it's the fact it's got those little gems on it, gem eyes, gem chest, it's said from eating the rocks that it feeds in the caves. Now, Sableye, in terms of battle capability, is the fact that the most common set you do see is the Prankster set, because it's a really damn good set. Obviously, run a full-natured, a special defense-natured Sableye, go for Will-O-Wisp, and then just stall out your opponent like hell. It's a nightmare to deal with. And of course, being Ghost and Dark type, it means it only has one weakness right now, and that is Fairy type. Before Generation 6, Dark Ghost types had no weaknesses, including Spiritomb, who was another contender for this list, but I passed him up. He's probably at number 12, I would say. Number 12 is a safe spot for Spiritomb. But then, of course, I do believe Sableye is weak to fighting types. If you can get Scrappy off and Foresight on this thing, then yeah, your fighting type move will probably hurt Sableye. Now, of course, the Prankster ability is what made this thing a monster that it is. I mean, no one really used the other ability, which I think was Stall. I can't remember the name of it, but it's no way good as Prankster. And of course, in Oras, they decided, let's give Sableye a Mega Evolution, which kind of made sense because you had Morwell get a Mega Evolution being the exclusive for Ruby, so of course the exclusive opposite, give that one a Mega. And they just went batshit crazy with Sableye. They made this thing a tank. An absolute monstrous tank. Now, in terms of the design of the Mega Evolution, while it's not a bad Mega Evolution design, I just thought it'd be something a bit faster, like they'd make it a bit faster, give it a bit more of a Goblin-esque kind of feel to it. But the Mega Evolution design is still cool. I mean, I absolutely love the look of it now. It's really grown on me. Obviously, the little crystal thing bulging out of its chest, like the energy inside is just so brewing up and just rips out of its chest. Oh my god, it's just such a cool one. I love the gold teeth as well. It's an upgrade in those. And of course, obviously the power this thing can bolster is amazing. I mean, I run Bold, Will-O-Wisp, Calm Mind set, which is probably the most common, because you make sure they get your special defense up with Calm Minds, and then you just Will-O-Wisp your opponent, so that eventually they just can't take you down physically. Now, of course, like I said, Fairy type is its only weakness at the moment, but before then, Sableye was a threat, and it still is a threat. It's probably just one of those cool mons, and of course when it Mega Evolves get Magic Bounce, it's just so good. As I said, it's a guilty pleasure. You love using it, but at the same time you do feel kinda dirty for using it. But, I don't know, maybe you guys don't feel that way. I mean, he was a very close contender into entering the top 5, but after thinking about it for a while, I kinda had to pass him up on these other 5 Pokemon. So, while you're still cool, Sableye, I really love this thing. I just sort of grew on me. I mean, hell, I soloed, Omega Ruby with one of these things. You may be wondering, how did you get a Sableye and Omega Ruby? Well, I bred one even in X and Y. I brought it over, and I used that one. As I have 2 Sableyes, a Mega Sableye and a Prankster Sableye. Because essentially the Prankster one just does all the Prankster nonsense that most people are used to, and then the Sableye, the Mega Sableye, is just of course the same kind of set, but obviously built for a bit more power behind it. So claiming the number 6 spot this week, we have Sableye. Number 5. Claiming the number 5 spot this week, we have Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus? That is the right way to say it. But Cofagrigus for me was quite a surprise. I first thought, because even though I said I love all ghost types now, before, I actually did not like Cofagrigus, for the main reason being its design. I was thinking, what on earth was GameFreak thinking? But, lo and behold, it's at number 5 in my top 10 favourite ghost type list. And it really deserves it in my opinion. This thing is just incredible to me. I mean, at first I didn't think much of it, but then, oh my god, I've never had such a turnaround for a Pokemon ever in the entire series than Cofagrigus. Now for one, let's read these Pokedex entries. It is said that they swallow those who get too close and turn them into mummies. They like to eat gold nuggets. They pretend to be elaborate coffins to teach lessons to grave robbers. Their bodies are covered in pure gold. It's a Pokemon made of gold, which for one, that is awesome, but it turns people into mummies. This thing literally kills people. Out of all of the Pokemon on this list so far, while we can say that Jellison drags people under and they vanish, obviously meaning that they got dragged to the bottom of the sea or whatever, Cofagrigus literally comes out and says, Hey, you want me, bro? Want me, bro? Well, come in here and I'll make you King Amutep. Yeah, that is pretty terrifying. This thing, oh my god, I just imagine someone, it's sort of like a mummy's curse, and it really, really works. I said, design-wise, I was very skeptical at first. I thought, it's literally a coffin. It's a coffin with big googly sticky hands. But once again, I just grew surprisingly used to it, and I've seen the fan art for Mega Evolution. Out of all of the ghost types on this list, while there are 4 more to go, this one needs the Mega. Unveil what's in that coffin. Oh my god, I just love this design so much now. In fact, I think it's rather genius in a way. Being made out of pure gold is just awesome. But in terms of its battle capabilities, this thing is a tank. The pure definition of a tank. The defenses are monstrous, and I prefer to run Will-O-Wisp, Bold-Natured, Calm Mind. Because, you know why? This thing is just ridiculously overpowerful in defense. It just takes all the hits. Being immune to normal and fighting types helps on one phase. But the fact it can take most hits and live, of access to Plane Split as well, so you can heal up off your opponent, is just really, really cool. Now, like I said, at first I was very skeptical, mainly just because in terms of design, I was very skeptical back in the original, my first days of Pokemon. I pretty much said, if it doesn't look cool or doesn't appeal to me in design, I'm not going to use it. But I did actually find a way to use Cofagrigus, and I'm really, really happy that I did. And there are alternate sets. I've got one that has Trick Room on it, so it can outspeed its nasty plot set. And now even if you run full investment in special attack and HP, you're still going to take quite a few good hits because your defense is just so high. But of course, utilize that defense, make yourself a powerful wall. You're just not going to fall down. This thing is just incredibly fun to use. And in terms of the other ghost types on this list, this is going to be the last entry for the Gen 5s and anything further on. Actually, no, I got that wrong. Never mind, I just remembered who's at number 2. But at number 5 this week, we have the Coffin Pokemon, or whatever it is, the Mummy Fire, Cofragigus. Number 4. Taking 4th place this week, we have the OG Ghost type, the first Ghost type line in the Pokemon series, Gengar. Now, I don't know anyone who can say when I mention Ghost types, they don't bring up Gengar. Gengar is the OG, he's pretty much everyone's go-to Ghost type. And I can see why. This thing is powerful, speed and special attack. It's a glass cannon, but at the same time, it's a really effective glass cannon. Now, in terms of design, while simplistic in body shape, I think it's the face that appeals to most people. And of course the anime, whenever I mention this to anyone, they say, oh, I remember that episode from the anime, oh, the anime episode. Well, it was pretty good, but I prefer to look at them from the game standpoint. Now, when I got Fire Red and Leaf Green with my friend, I decided, you know what, I'll have a Gengar on my team, and I thought it was okay back then, and let me finish the story. Okay, let me finish the story. I thought Gengar was okay. It didn't really appeal to me as a ghost type, or one of those standout ghost types originally, because I played Gen 3 first, but I definitely caught the appeal afterwards. This thing is just really cool. I love the smile, and that's probably what I see in most people. T-shirts with just the smile, mugs with the smile on it. It's just that popular Gengar smile. And I'm going to give an honourable mention here to Haunter. I'm going to put Haunter at number 4. You know what? Haunter and Gengar at number 4. And reason why is because Haunter, I think, has a better design. Mainly just because I prefer it. It's like that ghost with the creepy hands. Gengar gets all stumpy legs and he becomes a spiky ball. So in terms of design, I do prefer Haunter, but at the same time, I love Gengar. And of course, it got a Mega Evolution, and I thought, are they insane? A Mega Evolution for Gengar? Well, why don't we just give Mega Evolution to gods? Oh, we kind of did that already. We got Primals and Mega Mewtwo's. That happened. But Gengar is just one of those mons which I do have to put on this list, not because I have to, but because I want to. He isn't quite able to make it into the top 3, he barely just made it into number 4, it was very close to be number 3, but after a while of thinking, I've got to think about the times I use them, when I do use them, memories. I take in a lot of factors when making these lists. And so, while we're at it, let's have a look at some of his dex entries as well, because, hell, it's not fair that I only look at other ones. But while I'm loading that up, let's talk about the Mega Evolution design. At first I was a bit skeptical about the middle eye, but then I realised it was kind of clever. When it Mega Evolves, it gets the ability Mean Look, so they put the Mean Look eye on his forehead to symbolise the Shadow Tag ability. Very clever, GameFreak, and I can't remember who it is, like the lead designer, but he says Gengar is one of his favourite Pokemon, and I can really see the appeal. While it's not my favourite ghost type, I will give credit where credit is due. So, let's have a look at these dex entries. This is from Pokemon Gold. It steals heat from its surroundings. If you feel a sudden chill, it is certain that Gengar has appeared. To steal the life of its targets, it slips into the prey's shadow and silently waits for an opportunity. Hiding in people's shadows at night, it absorbs their heat. The chill makes the victim shake. So this thing is literally the definition of a ghost. The cooling temperatures, and it's going to be in your shadow. And it will just attack. Oh my god, that is just creepy as hell. It hides in the shadows. It is said that if Gengar is hiding, the cool area is nearly 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, yeah, that sells it. This thing is just a stalker. This thing is a creepy, scary stalker. And you know what? It's awesome for doing that. So, like I said, he's not quite able to make it on my top 3, but still number 4 I think is quite respectable. And Haunter, you get number 4 spot as well, sort of tied for it. But still, I absolutely just love Gengar, and of course I have to mention, Mega Evolved, he gets those little dinky little feet. But I mean, the design of it as well, the Mean Look eye, the fact that it just seeps out the ground like it is a shadow, very clever. So, taming the number 4 spot this week, we have Gengar. Number 3. Claiming the number 3 spot this week, we have Froslass. Now, you should have expected this one to be on this list. Ice type being my second favourite type. If they combine the two, it was quite obvious that Froslass was going to be on this list. Now, I was a bit surprised that they gave Snorunt an extra evolution out of nowhere, but I'm kind of glad they did, because Glalie is pretty balanced in what it does, which is basically does what it does. I can't really describe Glalie properly, but Froslass just stands out to me a lot more. A fast ice type special attacker, and I just really fell in love with this thing's design. That's what sold me on Froslass the most. For one, it's based on one of my favourite mythological creatures, the Yuki-onna, which, for those who don't know, is essentially an ice woman in Japanese folklore. In fact, some of its Pokédex entries even say about this. Legends in snowy regions say that a woman who was lost on an icy mountain was reborn as a Froslass. So we've had people who lose their souls by looking into the empty carcass of a bug, to people becoming mummies, to people literally becoming Pokemon. Yeah, I think we're pretty messed up here. And as well as that, here's the other one. It freezes foes with icy breath nearly minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. What seems to be its body is actually hollow. So once again, another hollow body, which kind of works since it's made of ice. But the fact is, that will just instantly freeze something. That is just insanely disturbing. Because freezing for me is like one of those worst ways to go, in my opinion. Well, obviously I don't know the experience, but obviously it just sounds terrifying. Having your body freeze up on you. And Froslass just takes it to the extreme. We've had Gengar who chills the area. Well, Froslass literally will freeze the area. So in terms of design, I really just think I fell in love with that the most. It's, like I said, based on the Yuki-onna, and that's really what got me with Froslass. I mean, I do love it when Pokemon is clever about their designs. They're not just throwing things at the board, thinking, oh, we need a new rodent Pokemon, oh, we need a new bird Pokemon. It's like they actually really thought about this one. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't think about the birds and the rodents, but obviously each generation has their bird and their rodent. And Froslass just sort of came out of nowhere, in my opinion. I just love this thing so much. Now, obviously, I will get... I might expect a bit of backlash from the Gengar fanboys, because obviously there's people who just say, oh, Gengar's the best, of course, why'd you put him at number 4? Well, to be honest, I was really compelled to put him at number 3, but Froslass for me just seems a lot more better in design. I mean, hell, it may not be as effective as a Gengar, but still, this is my list, and I really love Froslass. Probably, I don't know if I wouldn't say it was cute, but it is one of those ghost types that stands out to me, maybe because of the ice typing on it, of course being ghost as well, and of course the only ghost and dragon in the game at the moment that comes to mind is Giratina, but I don't do legends on these lists. So expect Giratina to pop up sometime later, but as we stand now, we're going to have Froslass at number 3, because, well, I sort of fell in love with it. Like I said, Snorunt just came out of nowhere and said, hey, want to give me that stone you got in your pocket? Oh, I'll evolve into a badass little frost lady. Yeah, alright, I'll take that for granted. Most of the times you do see this thing set up as a setup Pokemon with Destiny Bond, Spikes, Taunt, Ice Beam for Stab. Because obviously it's really fast, surprisingly fast. I was surprised at how fast it actually is. But still, I really couldn't think of any other reason to say putting it this high up on the list other than saying I really like Froslass. Enough to put him over Gengar and Haunter, but still, at number 3 this week, we are going to have the nice and cool typing Ice type, Froslass. Number 2. Claiming the second spot this week, we have Chandelure. Now, if you already saw my top 5 fire type list, you already knew this guy was going to be on here. And if you want more detail about its battle capabilities, I would recommend checking that video out, because so far, Chandelure has been the only repeat offender on this list. While Sableye is one of my favourite ghost types, and I didn't put him on my dark type list, that was mainly just because I prefer a few more dark types than that to him. But Chandelure has always been one of my favourite mons, because while Gen 5 took me by surprise of how many mons it introduced that I really liked, Chandelure just stood far more to me. And in terms of design, I absolutely love this thing. The blue fire, the way how it's just like a haunted chandelier. And to me, it represents Halloween the best. And I had to include him on this list without a doubt. I mean, you could say that Gourgeist is now the new Halloween Pokemon, but no, I'm always going to give that title to Chandelure. Also, the shiny being orange is like a floating jack-o'-lantern. Just so awesome. I've got a few dex entries here. Being consumed in Chandelure's flame burns up the spirit, leaving the body behind. The spirit burnt up by its ominous flame lose their way and wander this world forever. Okay, so this thing, I absolutely love it, but it will actually rip my soul out. Yeah, I don't want that. That doesn't sound very nice at all. So, while Chandelure just sounds terrifying, I really don't want to get close to this thing, I will still risk hanging out with a Chandelure because it's just one of my favourite mons of all time. He's easily on my top 10 favourite Pokemon list. And while, like I said, I don't include legendaries on this list, I consider this thing to be legendary. It's just so cool. And in terms of design, I think that the Chandelure evolution line is the best designed Ghost evolution line ever. I'm just saying that right now, it's got the best designs. Being Ghost and Fire is unique enough, but the fact how the designs work so well, it starts as a candle, then a little lantern, and then it turns into a full-on chandelier. It's perfect. And while I'll hear people say, oh, it's just a chandelier, what a rubbish design. Generation 1 had muck, and that's all I'm going to say on that one, but an Electrode, obviously. But still, I absolutely love this thing so much. And of course, you want to run a Will-O-Wisp set, you can if you want, but obviously it's got Flame Body, so much Burnage. This is the master of Will-O-Wisp, basically. This is the master of the burn status for the Ghost types. It's like, you want to try and be the best Fire type burn, and be the best burner as a Ghost type? Yeah, talk to Chandelure first and learn a few things. So, claiming the number 2 spot this week, we have Chandelure. Number 1. And claiming the number 1 spot as my favourite Ghost type, and I'm just going to say it, my favourite Pokemon of all time, Bannette. To be fair, if you went this far into my videos and didn't know Bannette was my favourite Pokemon, I'm kind of ashamed. I really am. Bannette is just that mon which I fell in love with. People who play Generation 1 for their Ghost types often say, well, Gengar is one of my favourites, it's the OG Ghost type. Bannette is my OG Ghost type. It was the first Pokemon which stole my heart. And I say that about most Gen 3 mons. I mean, Mudkip was one of my favourites, Aggron, another amazing favourite, Roselia, another favourite. Bannette took it all away from them. Bannette stole my heart. And in terms of design, I absolutely love this thing. For one, it's a little plush doll. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a little plushie that kills things. And I've got its dex entries here, and for those who know Bannette well enough, you already know the kind of stuff I'm going to say. Bannette generates energy from laying strong curses by sticking pins into its own body. This Pokemon was originally a pitiful plush doll that was thrown away. A cursed energy permanent the stuffing of a discarded and forgotten plush doll, giving it new life as Bannette. The Pokemon's energy would escape if it were to ever open its mouth. I feel really sorry for Bannette. The fact that it's always a plushie that gets thrown away and just comes back. All it wants is some love. And I would gladly give this thing love. Hell, I've got plenty of plushies that do that for me. I just like to hug them. They're so adorable. I just love Bannette and everything that stands for it. I mean, here's a little backstory to how Bannette became a mascot. Originally, Roserade was going to be my mascot because I thought it was just such an elegant Pokemon. But I decided, you know what, I need something a bit more manly, something a bit more powerful to represent myself. And I thought, Aggron. Aggron's pretty cool. But then I realised designing stuff for Aggron was way too difficult. And so I realised, after probing around, I realised, why not Bannette? No one really uses Bannette. No one really uses it as a mascot, I mean. But I thought, yes, my OG Ghost type, it has to be Bannette. And it just stuck on me of how much I love Bannette. Like I said, the design, the fact it's a little plushie doll with a zipper mouth, was the way it's got that zip mouth is just amazing. And of course, the Mega Evolution. Oh my god, GameFreak. Oh my god. While Bannette is my favourite Pokemon, it's probably my second favourite Mega Evolution next to Aggron. And the design for Mega Bannette is just incredible. I love this thing with a passion. I'll just always say this thing is amazing. And I've got another dex entry here. This Pokemon developed from an abandoned doll that amassed a grudge. It is seen in the dark alleyways. A doll that became a Pokemon over its grudge from being junked. It seeks the child that disowned it. This thing is the Chucky of Pokemon, and oh my god, I just love it so much. I can't fawn over how much I love Bannette. I just love it so much. And people always say to me like, oh, it's not a really good ghost type in battle. I mean, Gengar is a better ghost type. Well, you have your opinion, I have mine. Bannette for me is just that Pokemon which I'll always love no matter what. No matter what happens, Bannette for me is just the most incredible ghost type, and in my opinion, Pokemon ever. Now, of course, when it Megas, it does get the ability Prankster as well, so that really does help it. In terms of defense, it doesn't really have much to offer, but like I said, the design for the Mega Bannette is incredible. Adds more zips to it, gets a darker colouring, and like the actual dark energy seeps out of its body. The grudgy energy actually comes out of its body to develop claws and little feet. That is just amazing. I mean, hell, if you look at the middle one down there, it sort of looks like those little side bits are its feet and it's just opened up. Not too sure about the hands though, I don't know where those big sleeves came from, but still an absolutely incredible designed mon. I just love Bannette so much, and I will just keep saying it over and over again. While you may not be able to see the reasoning that I really love it, it's just the fact that I do. Bannette for me is just the perfect Pokemon. I think this thing best represents me. It's just one of those cool mons. I love having this guy as my mascot. I love using him in teams. I love making art around him. I love having the plushies. Everything about Bannette for me is my symbolism of Pokemon and how much I love the series. So, claiming the #1 spot is Bannette. And there you have it, guys, my top 10 favourite ghost types. Now, this was a very lengthy video to do, very difficult to get these mons sorted out and ready, of course having to do university and stuff, but it's close enough to Halloween. I know it's past, that was my bad, I tried so hard to get this video ready, but this is as best as I can do. I hope you guys all enjoyed it so much. I've enjoyed making this list the times I have been able to spend on it. It's just incredible, and of course, for those who obviously knew who was going to be #1, come on, like it was really that difficult to guess who was going to be #1. It isn't rocket science now, is it? So I hope you all enjoyed it so much. So be sure to hit that like button. If your favourite ghost type wasn't on this list, write down in the comments your top 5 favourite ghost types. And join me next week, or whenever the next time will be, for the top 5 grass type Pokemon. Hope you all had a good Halloween. I've been LucaYasha. I'll see you all in the next vid. Goodbye.